Assalamu alaikum and a very good morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing very well today and you're ready to start your Wednesday with me, Maha Makhtoom, and the wonderful Shazad Khan. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, Shazad.
Good morning. Wa alaikum assalam. How are you, Ma?
I'm very good. I'm really hot though today. Like it's really warm inside and outside the studio.
Yeah, it is. It is at the same time, and I think it was quite hot yesterday as well. So for all those people who are out there, please make sure that you're having enough water or liquids on iftar or probably sari at the same time.
Let me ask you, Shazad, we
Yes.
know we're talking about the heat. How do you survive during the night time? Because it's getting really hot and, you know, there is a little bit of load shedding. So, you know, what do you do to survive? Because I'm really struggling.
So what I've done is basically I've got a UPS at home as well. So what I do is that I make sure that the AC is running 24/7. So whenever the electricity is around, you know, we are trying to mingle with it by just turning on the air conditioner. And then when the light goes, you know, over here in Islamabad, there's a schedule of it as well. So it'll go for an hour and then come back, so you can probably use the fan over here. But for all those people who might not be using air conditioners in the daytime as well, I think it's very difficult for them. So please look after yourselves. We love you. And we want you to be healthy.
Exactly, and you know, don't put yourself into any kind of danger. But should we start our segment because we have a lot to discuss.
Yes.
Yesterday we day
before yesterday.
The week merges into one because it's so much fun. But basically we launched how we're going to be going through the different the 30 paras of the Quran, and we're going to be discussing each aspect. And it's not to preach, it's not to try and lead someone in a particular direction. It's just to highlight the beauty, the message, how it is still relevant in the 21st century, and how, you know, how evolving it is within itself, this text.
And I think that's what we said yesterday as well when we were covering the first and the second part of the Holy Quran as well, and we said that there has to be a balance in between the revelation and then the research as well. And then, you know, obviously the prophets came down for our, you know, obviously they were sent by God, and then they were there to enlighten us, or probably, you know, to give us all of that information which was required. And then what are the barriers, what are not the barriers, where to stop from, or probably where to start from. You know, all of these questions which generally emerge in our heads. So we've got somebody very apt, you know him now, he's a part of the show, and he's none other than Mr. Yusuf Raza, and he's a student of Quran as well with himself, and resident at psychiatry as well. Yes?
We're going to say that every
so
time now.
Thank you very much for joining us once again, and you'll be here every day, so we might not welcome you this way tomorrow. But what are we doing today? So today we are to cover the third and the fourth part of Holy Quran.
So, Assalamu alaikum everyone, and thank you for having me again. What we're doing now is we're going to select a passage again from the third and the fourth juz. This is towards the end of the fourth, and this is from Surah Al Imran, and it sort of leads us from where we left off yesterday. How we saw yesterday that the Quran is very open and not as insecure as maybe the representatives of the message may be these days. And it goes on to, I'll just start off with the ayah itself. Actually, these are the last few ayats of Surah Al Imran. Before I go into them, there's this one of my favorite favorite narrations of the Messenger ﷺ. I can't help but mention that first.
Sure.
Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, the wife of the Prophet ﷺ, after he had passed away, was asked by the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, tell us something what you find most fascinating about the Prophet ﷺ. And when she heard this question, obviously this brings back memories of none other than Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. She started crying, and she said everything about him was fascinating. Everything about him was amazing. And then she said there was a particular incident that he came home one night and he came close to me. Obviously he would divide his turns between his wives, and then it was her turn, he was with her, and then he withdrew. She said our skins were touching, but then he withdrew. And he said, and this is something very amazing, that Aisha, I want your permission that I want to pray to my master. I want to pray to my Rabb. I want to pray to Allah. He's the Prophet, he's the husband, and everything, but no, this is her right. She's, again, those absolute hierarchies that we were talking about yesterday. Right now it's her
So the balance is there.
The balance is there. The balance is very dynamic. Now, she said, of course, I love your company, I love you being close to me, but I love that you pray to Allah as well, so go ahead. So she said he made wudu in the most excellent way, and then he stood up to pray, and as he's praying, his eyes are streaming with tears, and his beard becomes wet with his tears. As he goes in sajda, again, he's crying so much that the ground becomes wet with tears. And then he gets up and he lays down on his side, and he's crying, and the bed is wet with his tears, to the point that Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu comes to wake. This is the entire night. He spent the entire night crying. Bilal radiallahu ta'ala anhu comes to him and to take permission for Fajr, that can I give the adhan for Fajr, and the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in that state. He said, Ya Rasulullah, why you? You've been forgiven for all your past and future sins, and you are Rasul of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why are you in this state? Why are you doing this to yourself? And he said, why should I not do it after these ayat have been revealed to me? And it was these ayat that we're going to be talking about today. Sure. That if someone does not reflect upon these ayat, he reads them but doesn't reflect upon them. Woe to that person who gets this opportunity and yet he doesn't. And so this is the state that I spent my night in. Again, starting with the ayat themselves.
So let's see what the opportunity is offering.
Yeah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ لَآيَاتٍ لِأُولِي الْأَلْبَابِ. Definitely in the creation of the heavens and the earth and the alternation of the night and the day, there are signs for people of understanding. Picking up from where we left off yesterday, open to science, open to research, open to other worldviews, open to other thought processes. The Quran is not a closed system. It opens itself to the other. It's not self-referential. Everyone talks about how great they themselves are. And that's kind of like, beating your own trumpet and, just beating your own drum, so to speak, is how it goes. You're just talking about, Islam is the best. Why is Islam the best? Because the Quran says it's the best. Big deal. Big deal.
Yeah, people ask for logics.
Science says it's the best because science has discovered it's the best. Big stinking deal. What are you talking about? Like, you're just proving, I'm looking in the mirror and I'm saying I'm so beautiful, I'm so beautiful, I'm so beautiful.
You should probably be handsome though.
Yeah. But if somebody else gives me that compliment, then that makes a difference.
Exactly.
The Quran is opening itself up to saying, you know what, you want to know where I stand, where I come from, my truth, look outside of me. Look outside of me, within me as well, but outside of me. In the creation of the heavens and the earth, in the alteration of the night and the day, are signs, are ayat, and ayah is something very, something that we need to understand. An ayah is a sign that reminds you of something. For example, if I give you a pen as a gift, parting gift, we had a show together, thank you very much for having me, you have to take a pen. Years we don't meet. And then you go through your luggage or whatever and you discover the pen. This is that guy who was not the president but the resident of psychiatry or whatever the case was. That reminds you of me even though I'm not there, but that a memory clicks with you. Exactly. That you had once upon a time.
Only if I haven't lost the pen.
If you don't throw it away as soon as you leave the hall. But yeah, so that's what ayah is. So with respect to the natural phenomena, Allah says these are ayat that should remind you of me. Okay. That you study them, people of understanding, provided that it is an unbiased, sincere study of nature. Okay. Sincere reflection over the phenomena of nature, and it is coupled with الَّذِينَ يَذْكُرُونَ اللَّهَ قِيَامًا وَقُعُودًا وَعَلَى جُنُوبِهِم. Those who remember, do the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So they've pondered over the universe in an unbiased, clear fashion, sincerely to find the truth, no selfish vested interests at hand, and they've reached the conclusion, you know what, this is from Allah. Exactly. They've remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there is that reflective process involved, but the ayah triggers in something from within. And how we know now, and a lot of the religious scholars as well as philosophers have identified that sources of human knowledge based on observation, yes, but there's also that intuitive capacity. That knowledge that comes from within, what we know as the sixth sense, but usually it's not regarded as something very reliable. But you will find the philosophy of, for example, Charles Peirce, you will find Viktor Frankl, and all of these scientists and philosophers saying that science is not possible without intuition. Okay. Science is not possible without intuition, so that is a very important, again, Iqbal very heavily emphasized on this intuitive faculties of the human being as well, as to how they are a very reliable source of knowledge.
So are we leaving behind the importance of research as well, because right now we're talking about observation and then intuitiveness, right?
Right.
So then where does the research part
That's
come
where it
in?
starts from, doesn't it? It starts from the intuition, and then you do the research,
Yes.
and then you go into the...
Where does the idea come from
So
for
necessity
research?
is always the mother of invention.
Yes.
So the research is going to be there.
Where does that idea spark from? Where does that come from? Like, are you really thinking through every single step?
Yeah.
Or are there some steps that are just, you know, like
Yeah.
they just come?
Yeah, that's how it happens.
Right? So
because every time I try to plan my life, I write down, okay, this is what I'm going to do, then, and when I'm done with the schedule, the next day I don't have it with me. I've lost it probably.
Right.
So all of those steps, they take place naturally.
So these are some very natural sources of human knowledge, something that unfortunately have been neglected by the predominant majority of how the world is seen by the predominant majority of scientists or what have you, because of bias or this, that, or the other. We're not getting into that, but this is recognized as something very valuable. So doing that, intuitive faculties, observational abilities, reflective power, come to the conclusion, I have a Rabb, I have a creator, I came from something. I'm not, so they remember that, they hold on to that, sitting, standing, and while they are laying down.
Okay.
So again, another unfortunate a compartmentalization, if you will, or an unfortunate divide in our society. The people of dhikr are other people. The people who remember Allah, who are recognized for their remembrance of Allah, and, you know, religious people, so to speak. And the people of thinking, the people of thought, are some other group of people. And they're at odds with one another, they're at loggerheads with each other, they can't seem to have conversations with one another except that they have to fight. And that's unfortunate, because that defeats the message of the Quran, the spirit with the Quran, that this is incorporated in one human being.
The divide is there within
And
the
also,
society.
exactly, and that's relevant right now as well, isn't it? Okay, so
Exactly.
this is very relevant. So
Yeah.
let's discuss it more.
Right, so وَيَتَفَكَّرُونَ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ, and they are pondering over the creation of the heavens and the earth. And what conclusion do they reach? رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. Our Master, our Rabb, you have not created this in vain. You have not created this aimlessly. This is not a useless creation. This, me being, again, human beings being the center of the creation of whatever exists. And there's multiple like ecological assertions or conclusions rather that are made that if nothing was, if for example something insignificant like a fly, considered quote unquote insignificant, if that was to go extinct, plants would suffer, animals would suffer, human beings would suffer. If some plant was to, if something would happen to the plant life, animals would suffer, human beings would suffer. Something would happen to human beings, nothing would suffer.
Yep.
The world would become a better place.
Yes, like much healthier as well.
Cleaner, greener, ozone layer would be like heaving a sigh of relief, thank God I can all of that. So what does that tell us? All of this is serving
Us.
human
Us,
beings.
yes.
Where
Gosh.
all of that, again, one of the presuppositions of scientific inquiry is, what does this do? What function does this have?
Yes.
What purpose does this have? You study the human eye, you study whatever it is, and it comes off as an exception that, you know what, this doesn't have a function. This doesn't have, and then later on, you know what, it did have a function, we didn't realize it before. All of that is going on, and then the one who is the center of all of this, the one who around whom all of this is revolving, he's purposeless. He's aimless. How utterly inconsistent. How stupid, really. How can anyone reach that conclusion and then say that my life is all about eat, sleep, repeat? What are you?
Quite a lot of things in
Oh
between
my
as well.
God! Oh my God! How utterly inhuman! Like, that's living at an animal level.
Yes.
That is living at a level of just no gratitude, no realization of how much we are blessed with respect to having this ability of being self-conscious beings, of being beings that can communicate with so much eloquence and discover so much and learn so much. Just completely throw that out the window. Throw that out the window. I am going to live my life based on pleasure only.
Yeah.
رَبَّنَا مَا خَلَقْتَ هَذَا بَاطِلًا. The people sincerely pondering over the creation of Allah, they say, no, Allah, you didn't create this out of jest. This is not useless. This, you're not playing around.
There has to be a reason.
There has to be a huge reason behind this.
Okay, yeah, no, so all of these verses, they kind of make you think really deeply about life, and very interesting.
So moving right along, the next ayah says, at the end of the previous ayah, Subhanaka faqina adhaban nar. Glory be to you, save us from the hellfire. Now we're saying that they're not reaching these conclusions based on study of revelation. They're reaching these conclusions pondering over the creation, pondering over the natural phenomena around them. And anthropologically speaking, you will not find any community that has existed since we have a historical record maintained that did not have some concept of an afterlife, some concept of hellfire, some concept of punishment. So they're identifying that, and they're expressing this, that, Ya Allah, this is not purposeless. We have to lead lives responsibly. If we don't, we are to be held accountable for it. If we are exploiting others, if we are unjust to others, if we're not fulfilling the rights of others, if our freedom is encroaching the freedom of other human beings, then that's not on. That's not on. So make us of those people who lead lives responsibly and do not get punished in an afterlife. Because in pondering and reflection over human life and over nature, you see so much justice and so much balance in the universe. So much balance that if anything goes out just a wee bit here or there, everything falls apart. It's like a deck of cards, it falls apart.
Exactly.
And so, but one thing that we see is that human action is not reciprocated as such. Human beings get away with the most heinous crimes. And human great sacrifice is not rewarded as it's supposed to be. Natural conclusion that springs to mind, again bringing together the reflective and intuitive capacities of human being, is that this can't be it. There has to be something else. It only makes sense that to complete the justice of whatever seems to be very, very just and very balanced, there has to be another life.
So then moving on, what is that?
That is the hereafter, where every single individual will be held accountable for what they did. Rabbana innaka man tudkhilin nara faqad akhzayta. Our Rabb, the one that you enter into the hellfire, he's been disgraced. He has been disgraced. وَمَا لِلظَّالِمِينَ مِنْ أَنصَارٍ. And the unjust people, those who failed to realize this, those who did not do justice to their intellect, those who did not do justice to their abilities that Allah has endowed them with to recognize these facts, there's no helper for them, no one will support them. And then Rabbana innana sami'na munadiyan yunadi lil iman. Our Rabb, we have heard the call of the caller calling towards faith, calling towards iman. Because one of the products of honest reflection is that you realize the limitations of your reflective ability, that you realize where the boundary is, that we can reach certain conclusions but not all conclusions. We realize the fallibility of our sense of observation and our ability to draw conclusions and of human knowledge in general. And we also realize the fallibility of our intuitive capacities. Because no matter how strong my conscience may be, and I need it and I require it, it too can lead me, not give me the best suggestion always.
Exactly.
Right? So I need some source which is relatively more secure and more reliable and gives me more details for what I need to lead my life, something that if I spend my entire life in human beings as a community, it'll take us a long time to get there.
It's based on evidence and trustworthy.
Yeah, so there has to be some communication from that Rabb to someone that he specially endows, and he just breaks it down to us.
And that's where prophecy comes in.
That's where prophets come in. That's where prophets come in. So we have heard the call of the caller calling towards Iman, an aminu bi rabbikum, that you have Iman in your Rabb. Again, the call of the prophets is never for their own service. They're not claiming to be kings or serve me. Or the Messenger ﷺ would go as far as that if his stick would fall off his camel, he would not ask anyone to get it for him. These are people who would do anything for Rasulullah ﷺ. They're willing to lay down their lives for him, but he says no. Gets off the camel himself. It's not a mean feat getting off a camel, right? Gets off the camel, picks up the stick, gets back on. You're not here for my service.
Because he was an example.
He was an example, and he was letting us know that his role as a prophet is to take us to Allah, not through him, yes, through understanding what he gives us in terms of knowledge and in terms of commandments, but not his service. He's not getting any benefits personally.
And then as a human within the people, he's set an example of that's how you should be.
Exactly. So showing that what my revelatory experience teaches me, these are the conclusions that I'm giving you. So, فَآمَنَّا Ya Allah, we believe in it. We heard his call and we believe in him. So forgive us our sins and allow for us to be raised among the people who are righteous.
Okay,
So
great.
then how do we conclude it now,
Yep.
this entire teaching?
Okay, conclusion is that reflective abilities that we have, intuitive abilities that we have, they lead us to the understanding of God, of an afterlife, of the need for messengers, and then following the message of those messengers to lead a more responsible, to lead a more wholesome, meaningful life. Because without these aspects, our lives tend to be selfish, self-absorbed, self-concerned, just driven by the pleasure principle. I don't care if anything happens to anyone else, but no. Come back here, let's be very honest with ourselves, and we should be having a meaning to live for.
Amazing.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And also, as you said, that the whole world is made to kind of serve us and make our lives easier. So there must be a purpose and a reason why we're here. So with that, I hope you guys took something away from that and enjoyed it. It was very enlightening for me as well. So we're going to go for a short break. And when you come back, we're going to do our usual drill and have a very interesting show for you.
And we did want you to check the mails as well, but then unfortunately
No time
the
today.
Wi-Fi is not working and
it's
we're
not.
short of time as well.
Yeah, we didn't.
But then let's go for a short break, and when you guys are going to come back, let's see for whether do we have all of those people who want to live within that parameter which Allah has actually given us.
Yes.
The Shah Faisal Mosque in Islamabad, Pakistan, is among one of the largest mosques in the world. It is a popular mosque in the Islamic world and is renowned for both its size and its architecture, covering an area of 5,000 square meters with a capacity of 300,000 worshippers. In 1969, an international competition was held in which architects from 17 countries submitted 43 proposals. After 4 days of deliberation, Turkish architect Vedat Deloki's design was chosen. Construction of the mosque began in 1976 by the National Construction of Pakistan. It has 4 88 meters minarets tower over the prayer hall. Inside, the ceiling soars to 40 meters and the air hums with muffled recitations. The Hassan II Mosque, or the Grand Mosque Hassan II, is a mosque in Casablanca, Morocco. It is the largest mosque in Morocco and Africa. It is the 7th largest mosque in the world. Its minaret is the world's tallest at 2,010 meters. It was completed in 1993. The only minaret is 60 stories high, topped by a laser, the light from which is directed towards Mecca. The mosque stands on a promontory looking out to the Atlantic Ocean, the sea bed being visible through the glass floor of the building's hall. The walls are of handcrafted marble. The roof is retractable. A maximum of 105,000 worshippers can gather together for prayer.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and for everybody who's been tuned into PT while you're watching World this morning,
Yes.
alongside Shazad and Maha, and
Yes.
earlier, you know, we just got done with our first segment, which is obviously about Ramadan and the revelation or the teachings of Quran. And it was quite informative today as well, that you have to be within that parameter where you actually help people and you cannot just live your life for your own pleasure.
Exactly, and also, you know, providing platforms for people, and also living with certain ethics and morals. And because at the end of the day, you know, in Pakistan there are a lot of people who believe in God. They, you know, if you believe in God, then you believe in the afterlife.
Yes.
Now, you know, if you're doing something wrong or you're doing something right, everything you do is being watched. You cannot hide anything from, you know, the all-seeing, all-knowing.
Yes.
So, you know, that's, you know, these things are the things that every day, you know, when you're going walking on the street, you think about these things, and it's so easy to forget it and live in the moment and go to that primal level.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's discuss. There are also other people who are doing some great work.
Exactly, and you know, before the start of Ramadan, we've had people from NGOs and other foundations or organizations who were helping other people at the same time. So now today, what we've done is that we've got this group over here. They're known as CSS, which means Community Social Service, and they're trying to probably raise the standards of education for the people who live in the urban slums, and then they're working on personality development, they're working to eradicate child labor, and then there are all other issues as well. So let's see, whom do we have in the studio with
Exactly.
us?
So to discuss what they are up to, and actually what is the situation within Pakistan and what can they do, we have been joined by Hassan Naseem. He is the Vice Chairman of CSS. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Oh, sorry. I thought it
It's
was
all
always
right.
in an order. Oops, sorry. So,
So this
so
is
Shazad, you have to do
sorry,
that.
just because I wrote the name, so I think I'm going to do that.
This is
So
what happens when I don't
literally
take
sorry,
control.
because the order goes from down to up, all right?
Okay.
So on my right-hand side, we've got Muhammad Sharjeel Hashmi, who's the Vice President of CSS. Hello, Sharjeel, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Thank you very much for coming over. And then we have got Mr. Hassan Naseem, who's the Vice Chairman. Hello, Hassan Saab, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
You're fine, but that's very nice. And then we have got Usman Khan, who's the Chairman CSS. Hello, Chairman, how are you?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, very nice. And then last but not the least, we have got Ibrahim Koster, who is a media marketing manager at CSS, but still he hasn't actually lined up this interview. But that's perfectly all right.
That's
How
great
are you?
marketing.
I'm fine. How about
Thank you
yourself?
very much for coming over, guys. And I'll just move on to the chairman over here.
Let's
First
start
of
with
all,
them.
it's been a year, you know, for CSS, and you guys have been working. You guys have spent like roughly 500,000 rupees, probably to make sure that the education standards may probably rise, just because of the fact that you knew that the education statistics were quite low within our country. Why do you think that there was a need for such an initiative when we have got so many other initiatives working and
Exactly.
progressing? We have got educators, we have got other schools coming up with these ideas. So why you guys?
Actually, nowadays in our society, we have been going through seeing that many children belong to, from a poor family, and they are stuck in the child labor.
Okay.
We always see them in workshops they pick garbages and extra. After seeing that, we just few fellows thought about it that why don't we start to educate them.
All right.
Then we just visited different areas in Islamabad.
For example,
The
E11.
E11, the Kachi Bastis of
All right, all right.
E11.
Yeah, I go there as well in E11. Excellent.
Yeah?
Yeah, there is Kachi Basti there, and
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
the kids there. Yeah, we go
Yeah,
there.
actually there is Kachi Basti in every sector, in each sector of Islamabad.
Okay.
Like we have Kachi Basti in F6 also, in G7 also.
Right.
But at least there are government schools in each sector.
Okay.
But E11 is the sector where we don't have any government level school for the
Right.
children as well as for the youngsters or
Because
adults.
it does not fall under the jurisdiction of CDA as well.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
one prime reason.
So we decided to start up our first project in E11.
You can take a deep breath.
It's
Take
okay.
it easy.
Relax. It's all good.
We'll move on to the vice president. Okay, so continue your chairman's statement.
Well, like Allah has blessed us all the resources for education, but we always say that the government is not doing anything for improving the literacy rate of our country, but no one is taking the step for the education. So we as a responsible citizen of our country, it is the responsibility for us to improve the literacy rate. So we have, instead of being a silent spectator of, we have to contribute something in improving the education.
Absolutely.
So we have take the step to improve the literacy rate. Like in the start, we have very few students. Now we have 102 students. So
Okay.
Wow.
No, but the thing is, where do you have the students? Because you said that you went to the Kachi Bastis in E11 in different areas. So then what happened? I mean, what have you done since then? You saw that there was a need. So have you picked up the kids? Have you made an organization, a school? What are you doing? Where are these one or two students?
First, we have established we have lent 2 rooms
Okay.
for the education, and then we have talked to the parents of the remote areas. So
Right.
and aware them for the education and how important education
Right.
is.
And where are these kids from that you are taking to these schools? These 102 kids, where are they
Well,
from?
they are from the 11 remote areas where
Okay.
we have established the school. All surroundings homes are
Okay.
basically, yes. the
So, okay, sorry, I'm asking these questions because you know you guys are doing stuff. So let's find out what you're doing on ground level. So let me move on to you, sir. Where are these schools? As in, like, so how are you educating them? I want to like understand how you guys are doing this.
We are doing on the Punjab education system,
Okay,
the syllabus of Punjab government. We are also using that syllabus in our school,
okay,
and we also hired few teachers which are teaching them on regular basis. And Alhamdulillah, the status of our education is far better than the government school.
okay.
Okay,
Even-
but what subjects do you teach now? But initially, what Maha was trying to ask over here was, how do you gather all of those kids from?
Yeah.
Probably, you
you
highlighted
pick them
that
up
there,
from
there
the
are
bus?
slums right next to E11, and then just because the jurisdiction not under CDA of the sector itself, so then there are no government schools. So then what you guys have done is that you guys have hired 2 rooms, then 2 teachers, and then was it difficult for you to convince all of those parents who were out there within the slums that please let us teach your children? And then what was their response? That's what we are trying to ask initially.
We went through the whole Kachi Basti and went to the door to door and asked people that we are running a project for your children which will help you in enhancing their future. And then we explain all the things to their families and make sure that they will come and they will join the school.
Okay.
The response was very good, but it was very hard to educate those children as they have no manners and such
Yeah,
things,
exactly. Yeah.
because they were used to collect garbage and things like that.
Okay.
So initially it was very difficult, but alhamdulillah, after 1 year we are very confident. Even the donors which were helping us, they are very happy.
We'll
with
move on to how you sustain how you sustain CSS. But now let me ask you: when you got the kids and you got the parents on board, you got the rooms. Where exactly are you based now? Because you know, if there are people watching who see street kids, obviously they'll direct them towards you. So where are you guys based? Let me ask you this.
Basically, we're based in Islamabad, and our organization is registered as a trust.
Okay.
So
okay, great.
So
Okay, wonderful. So you're Islamabad based, so you're working primarily. Are there any plans to go beyond Islamabad? Anyone can answer that. Yes.
Inshallah, inshallah in future.
Okay. So now you've been working for 1 year. You guys have got 102 kids now. You guys you rely on donations in order to sustain yourselves. Now, how difficult is, like you're in marketing and media, how difficult is it relying solely on donations to fund
actually
this?
it's kind of very difficult task, because it's very difficult to convince people that we are doing something good for the community.
But why do you think
Is it difficult?
that there's a need to convince people? Because whenever we speak of donations, I don't think that there's a lot of convincing required for that.
There is actually required, because there are a lot of organizations they are running in Islamabad. So we need to convince them that we are operating
And it's
for a long
authentic
time.
and it's transparent.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's what the core reason is. Like I don't think that it's convinced. It's that convincing part. It probably all of the energy, it goes down to the authenticity and the transparency as well. And for that particular reason, since you're here on the show today, which might be an opportunity, so taking advantage of it, how do you think that for all those people will trust you by saying what?
Well, in order to establish the interaction between the donor and the student, we have launched recently a program which is called as the Sponsor a Child, in which a person can sponsor one child, and who we can give us all the record of that child to the donor, so that he can satisfy that the children is doing well in the school.
And then how do you do that? I mean, what documents will you provide
What
the
system
donor?
do you guys
We have developed a file of every child, in which there is a report card.
So every receipt is going to go in there, every
Yes,
report
everything,
card,
everything,
monthly or weekly reports and whatever it is. But then at the same time, since you're the media and the marketing manager as well, how do you plan on going forward? Because E11 probably within Pakistan might be 0.00001% of improvement in the education system. And for that, you guys might need a better initiative, or probably need to project your services to another level or to another extent, where you go cover other provinces or other cities. So now how do you plan on doing that? Because all of those organizations which were being built in 1990 or 2000, they have progressed so much that they have enormous facilities, the infrastructure is there and everything's there, they've developed their name. How do you plan on developing your own brand equity?
Okay. First of all, when we started from E11, that's what we thought, like how we're gonna get the resources and all that. But we need to start from something. So that's why we thought we should start from E11. That was our first initial step.
Yes.
Okay. So after that, in the future, we start plan by planning marketing activities more. For example, we have developed our website. Okay, and through which we will convey people that we're doing something good for the community.
Wonderful.
And on our website are my legal documentation and all that documents are mentioned, so that one should know that we are a registered organization, so that they don't hesitate to actually get engaged with our community social services. So that's how we plan the future events of CSS.
I think let me just move on to Chairman Saab over here. So Chairman Saab, share your vision with us.
Actually,
Chairman Saab is struggling today. So yes, what is your vision?
actually we just
Where do you want CSS to be in next 10 years?
inshallah CSS will be at a good platform, and it is a good platform for us and all the youngsters. There are many volunteers who are working with us,
Okay.
and
Do
day
you
by
need
day
more
we are gaining.
volunteers?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How do you get the workforce on board? Because, relying solely on donations, then getting volunteer work, then having teachers that come in every day to teach the kids, because not everyone will do this for free all the time. There has to be some sort of incentive.
Actually,
Anyone can answer this question.
We have associated with the different universities,
Okay.
like Rifa University, and who are ready to doing the volunteer work for
Okay.
us. So in this way, we are increasing our force by doing the volunteer work in the university. University students are ready for doing
Okay.
volunteer work.
So it's good for students to at least
Yeah.
get some experience.
And then at the same time, other than education, you guys are planning on getting rid of child labor, and then within natural disasters.
You have a lot of
yeah,
aims.
you're planning on working with the people.
Actually, we are also working on health and women empowerment.
Okay.
Last year we
So
distributed.
you're just working on these names, or you're working on these issues? That's
No,
what I'm asking.
We are working on these issues.
These issues, how?
Yeah, we just distributed 20 swing machines among
Okay.
those
Wow.
among their mothers, as these children were doing jobs. Some of them were doing hoteling, or some of them were doing jobs in workshops. So it was bit difficult for us to convince them for education, because
Okay.
they were bringing something to their families.
Yeah.
So we just we thought a plan, and
You guys did it.
we gave them a production house where their parents can, especially their mothers and sisters, they can earn something for them.
And then you don't ask for any profit from whatever end material they
No,
make
no,
or
no.
whatever they do.
No, no.
I
They
think
keep it.
that's a good thing. But before we wind up, any what
Final
is your
words?
website? Any contact number so that people can contact you if they want to do it?
Our website is communityservices.com, and we have a Facebook page as well, Community Social Services, where people can log on and access our page as well. And I would like to mention one thing: we have started a sponsor a child campaign, where we have calculated the cost of each child, and it's just like 800 rupees per month.
Okay,
For 800 rupees per month, a person can sponsor a child.
Okay, wonderful. And then on the website, you can probably get all the details as
Yeah,
to what it
exactly.
covers. Great, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And I wish you best of luck with your endeavor. I do hope you manage to
Thank you.
educate all the street kids of Pakistan. It's Islamabad. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So that was all we had for the show today. And for example, every Saturday I do go to E11 myself, and I try to teach the kids there with some wonderful people of Teach the World, who also feed the world. So there are organizations who are doing things out there. Do your research before you start giving your money as well. And that's why people are here, to show that they're transparent, but make sure your money is going to the right places, because otherwise there's no point.
And just to nutshell it, just play your own part. That's
Yeah.
it. I mean, be a human first. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of.
Well, this morning.
On Twitter,
Well, this morning without a G.
on Dailymotion,
Well, this morning.
on YouTube.
Well, this
And
morning.
the fabulous repeat is going to
It's
be
going to
up.
be on at 1:05 midnight.
So 3, 2, 1.
Good morning.